I was always trying to make myself better as a leader, trying to make myself better as a business person, and that trickled down because you know what leadership is doing, then your team does. And so I think because there was that cumulative effect of everybody always trying to be better and always being okay with learning, it's just part of the culture, that it was really this thing that it couldn't help but get bigger.
Hi, I'm Donna Griggs, CEO of Propel Change, and we're here with Ginger Jones today. Ginger owns Jones Therapy Service, which is a fascinating business with a fascinating backstory. So, Ginger, I just want to talk to you a little bit. Thanks so much for being here, but I wanted to find out a little bit about what made you start Jones Therapy Service.
Sure, yeah. So both my parents were deaf. So growing up, I was raised by two parents that had a hearing loss. Early on, I knew that I wanted to work with children with special needs and specifically with hearing loss. And so I was very blessed in that way that I, had a path set out in front of me and it was an easy one to follow. And moved home after graduate school and started working at the Vanderbilt Bill Wilkerson Center, which was really cool for me because my grandparents had started that and my dad was one of the first students there. So
wow.
Yeah, it was great. And I was 23 and I was having this, what I just call a full circle moment of doing what I'd want to do my whole life. And I was a big girl and I had a big girl job and
Look at me,
yeah. I was doing all the things and I loved it there. I had great opportunities to learn and to just really hone my skills as a clinician there. And about 6.5 years into it, just kind of started to feel like I actually liked things to move quicker, just change. I think that's kind of something that a lot of entrepreneurs really like is when you work in a bigger organization, change and
mud.
Yes.
Like going through mud, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah. So at that point, I wish I could say that I had some formal business plan and this great marketing plan. I wasn't that smart. I just thought that I could do something better. And so I saved up some money and kind of made some plans in my head and decided to start my own business. So.
Wow. So how long did you think about that before you started your own business?
I'm embarrassed to say, like 6 months.
I was going to say, yeah. It was weeks at least, right?
At least a few weeks, yes.
So then you're, 29 years old? You decided to start your own business. Now you have 9 locations, 9 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
we've grown
how many
services too.
Yeah, so every year you've had growth, year over year, right?
Yes, year over year we've had growth. Some years it was really compressed and it was a lot of growth in one year, and then we would kind of take the next year and put the legs under the table, so to speak. But we've grown every year, and we offer a wide variety of services. We started out with just speech language services, and now we do behavior therapy and occupational and physical and feeding therapy as well.
How did that all happen?
It was very organic. A lot of it was just me making mistakes and then figuring out that I needed to change something. And I heard the founder of Papa John's Pizza one time say, when you get better, you get bigger. And so I thought that's probably the best explanation, is that I was consider myself a lifelong learner, and so I was always trying to make myself better as a leader, trying to make myself better as a business person, and that trickled down because you know what leadership is doing, then your team does. And so I think because there was that cumulative effect of everybody always trying to be better and always being okay with learning, it's just part of the culture, that it was really this thing that it couldn't help but get bigger. And I embrace growth. I think that you don't have to be growing just because you're good. There's plenty of great companies that don't grow, but I embrace that. And I think that's probably more of the entrepreneurial side of me, is that I like that newness and that creation thing. And I didn't know that I really had that until I got in the middle of it.
Well, it's a good thing you discovered it, right?
Yeah.
So if I think about it and I look at the fact that you like growth, and you're doing really well at that growth, and you're a lifelong learner, you probably impart that throughout your entire organization.
Yeah.
With more of the growth, what kind of challenges have you had? Because the bigger you get, the more challenges there are.
For sure. I think one is systems are constantly changing. And so a lot of times I'll say, well, what worked when we had 100 patients didn't work when we had 500, and it certainly didn't work when we had thousands. And so that can sometimes be exhausting. And so I think, again, it's the message in your organization is just one of our core values is embrace growth. And then also, as you know, just having more people means that you just have to learn to work with a bunch of different personalities. And
Right.
so that's been challenging for me. When we had 10, 12 people, probably everybody was just like me. And there's, pros and cons to that, but as you grow, that just can't be the case. And you have to kind of learn how to work with a bunch of different personalities and how to mold your leadership style to fit different people.
So if you were going to give somebody who was thinking about, I'm pretty good where I am, but I'm thinking about taking that next step, maybe opening another location, or maybe growing my business by double. So that's my goal for the next 3 years, for example. What kind of advice would you give them?
I would first of all say, what's the why? If the why is more revenue or more margin or more profit, I just think that's when things get really, really tough, that's not going to be enough to get you through. And so if the why is because it feels it's on your heart and it's your passion and it's your purpose, then no matter what comes your way, you'll have the grit to get through that. So that's the first question.
For more topics like this and to learn more about how we help our clients, please visit our website,